Hey everybody, got a bicycle repair video today. So this is my bicycle. Hey bike. Anyways, we're going to replace the all of the gears. So we're gonna replace both the chain rings. We're gonna replace this dude and this dude, and then we're gonna replace all of these teeth right here because I don't know if we can find it, but they're pretty worn. There's one that's like super worn, but we'll look at them a little later. And then we're gonna replace the chain. So I was looking online for a good way to tell if your chain is all, your gears are all messed up and stuff. I couldn't really find one, so hopefully this video will help. I'm gonna show you guys how to check your chain and go through this whole process, so we're gonna get started. So here is all the stuff we're gonna use today for our repair job. On the right we have all of our replacement parts. We have the two chain rings right there, we have the cassette right there, and replacement chain. If you look really close, we have that master link that is right there, and we'll talk about that a little later, but we have the chain with the master link. And then we got some towels. Boom, towels, gotta have towels. Got the chain lube, got some master link pliers, which are right here. Got your chain checker tool, got some Allen keys over here, chain whip, and then we have this tool, and these are the same tool, but one has a handle and the other one I was just showing you that I have that other one, and it's the same tool, but if you don't have the one with the handle, you can use that one, and it comes, and you can use a wrench with it. But that's the tool that you stick into the cassette to unscrew the cassette. We'll talk about that a little later, but this is basically all the stuff you're gonna need to do this repair. So yeah. So before you get started on trying to fix your bike, you should make sure your bike is broken or that it needs repair. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to check the chain for stretch, because that's one of the common things that's easy to check, and there's a nice cheap tool for it that I'll show you in a second. But basically what happens is as you pedal your bike, pedal, just like that, you can see this chain as it moves this way, it's pulling on these teeth here, and it's causing that wheel to move. And so as you pedal for miles and miles and miles, slowly but surely that pulling starts stretching your chain apart. And if it stretches apart too much, then it's a little bit expanded, and then it won't fit really good in these gears here, in these teeth here, and then it'll start wearing away these teeth, which is pretty much what happened in my case, because I forgot to check my chain and change it out. So basically we have this tool right here. Boom. This is a chain checker tool, and if you can see right here, we have that 0.75 and that 1.0, and that says if the tool works on the 0.75 side, then your chain is at least 0.75 of 1% stretched, and then if it works on the 1.0 side, then your chain is at least 1% longer than it should be. Basically, if the 0.75 side works, then you should think about getting a new chain, and then if the 1.0 side works, then you should definitely get a new chain, like right now. So we're gonna learn how to use this right now, and so we're looking at the bike. Boom, let's refocus. Cool. And so basically how you use this tool is we're gonna start with the 0.75 side, and we're going to put it in the chain like that, and if it falls all the way through, which it's not because I'm filming, and it never works when I want to film it, then you know that the chain is a little too stretched. You want to check in a couple of places because the chain doesn't always stretch evenly, but if you check in a couple of places and it's stretched in different places, so I'm going to try 100 more times. It's not going to work because I'm filming it, but yeah, this is definitely not working. Oh, there it goes. So this is coming all the way through and all the way down. So, you know, at least from here to here, that chain is a little bit stretched out. So let's try it in a different place so we can see if we can get any more. Boom. So that one fell through super easy. And one more time. And so now we know it's at least 0.75% stretched, and we're going to flip the chain checker tool over. Bam. And we're going to try to check it at 1%. And so, oh look, it goes right through at 1% again, which was really odd because I'm filming it. See, that's what happens when I film it. It doesn't go all the way through. But we got it to go through once, and hopefully I can get it to go through one more time. But I think you guys get the picture. It's not always deformed all the way along the chain, so that's kind of the interesting part about this. You have to check in multiple locations. But if you can find it in 1 or 2 locations, then it's still a pretty good indicator. Like, at least part of your chain is stretched. And if part of it is stretched, then that means that part at least is going to wear down your gears and stuff, so it's still good to do a change. So we found out that we need to replace the chain, and I know because I've been riding my bike around and it's been skipping and stuff that I need to replace the gears. But first we need to get the chain off. So in this case we have a master link, and so what we're going to do is we're going to locate the master link on the chain. So we're going to rotate it until we find this master link. It'll come up in a minute when you see it. Oh, right there, of course, that's right where the... Is that in the frame? Okay, so this is the master link. You guys can see it has that little space right there, so you can tell it's very different. And so we're going to use this tool, the Park MLP, what is it, 1.2 I think, and this is a master link pair of pliers. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to put this around that link, boom, and then clip it together. And so you'll see that happen in a second. So put that around, bam, clip it together, boom. And then that part slides over. Get this dude out of here. And then the master link comes apart. The master link is 2 pieces. And so if you're planning on reusing it, which I don't recommend, you gotta keep both parts. But you can see that it's 2 pieces of link, and they go together on this side like that, and then you pull them out. But we'll go over that when we're putting the new chain in. So now that I got the chain kind of apart, let me see if I can zoom out. I'm just gonna pull the chain out of here and put this away. This chain I'm gonna throw away. It's not really good for anything. Guess you can do some arts and crafts with it, but it's done in terms of cycling. So cool. Chain out. So I have flipped my bike around because it's time to take the pedals off so we can get into these cogs right here and take them off. And so what I'm going to use is a 10mm Allen wrench, and that dude is going to go right in here. Yeah, there it goes. When you're taking this off, it's your regular righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but it is a bit of a bugger to get out. And interesting about this guy, there it goes, is as you're untightening it, it seems like it's tightening in. So that might be scary to some people, but you know, just believe in yourself and you can achieve great things. Keep untightening it, and eventually it'll come out. But it does feel like it's getting tighter as it there it goes, getting tighter. Feels like it's getting tighter as you loosen it. Also, the bottom bracket that I'm working on right now is a BB30. So for other bottom brackets, the repair might be a little different, but I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so take the pedal off. And then there's a little wavy washer dude. Don't want to lose this guy. It's pretty cool. Nice and wavy, if you can see that. Whoa. But yeah, save those guys. I forgot to say that this was a tool that you could use, but I use a soft hammer for this. Don't use a real hard hammer, like with like a metal tip. But a soft hammer with like a rubber tip is pretty good for beating this dude out. But yeah. Just hit on it a couple of times, that's okay. And then it should come out. And this is total overkill, and I wouldn't expect you to have this part. This is for bearing replacement, but it's just something I'm gonna slip in here. It's nice because it kind of meets up against that, so I can beat this dude out. there it goes. I wasn't really concerned about hurting this because I'm going to replace all the important parts anyways. But yeah, so you beat that dude out. Hopefully it falls right out. And that cover kind of fell off, so that goes there, but I'm going to need to clean that. So we're going to go take a look at these gears. Okay, so I know I did a really horrible job recording this, but this is the part of the repair where I am taking off the 5 different bolts that hold on the chain rings. So they're spaced out along the spider, which I'll point out later in the video. But you got to take them out, and you use Allen keys to take them out. I'm pretty sure it's a 4mm and a 5mm, one on each side, and you kind of just unscrew them and then make sure you do not lose the screws. But as you can see in a little bit, once they all are out, the chain rings kind of just fall off nice and easy. So yeah, there you go. See, all nice and easy. Okay, so here are the 2 bigger chain rings. This is my new replacement one, and this is the old one. If we take a little trip around the old dude, let me get some more light in here. You can see we got some wear going on. Oh man, look at all of that. Oh, that's bad. Do you see that right there? Dude, that's not good. But yeah, this is kind of worn. And yeah, that's what that looks like. So trip around the sweet new one. Oh man, that looks beautiful. And it's all black. Hooray! But these are not all the same size. You can see that even though it's brand new, the new chain ring doesn't have teeth that are all the same size. So just because your teeth are not all the same size doesn't mean that your chain ring is bad. It's just like if you see on some of the ones on the silver, they're like dented or galled up and stuff like that. And so yeah, like that one's super bad. Where's my finger? There. That one's like super bad. But they don't all have to be the same size. Now we're taking a look at the smaller chain ring. And so you can see the new all black one on the left and the then used one on the right. I don't really think that my small chain ring is worn too much, but since I was replacing the big chain ring and the cassette, I was like, yeah, I might as well replace it. I don't want me to ignore this one and then wear my chain down and mess everything up again. So there's a little bit of wear you can see on that too. Actually, that's pretty serious. Probably, yeah, I should probably replace this. But yeah, it's not too bad. It's not awful. Yeah, and then looking at the new one, these teeth, unlike the bigger chain ring, these all look pretty uniform. And so, yeah, if your little chain ring teeth are not looking uniform, you should probably get that checked out. But yeah, I'm replacing my chain ring with the same exact replacement. This is a little confusing sometimes because like here on this it says 1011. This is a 34 tooth chain ring, and it has a 110 millimeter bolt center diameter. So from like I think from like the center to the bolt or something like that is 110 millimeters. And that's important because if this number doesn't match your spider, the thing we here, go get it out of the kitchen. If it doesn't match this, it's called spider. This is a 110 millimeter spider. If I bought a little chain ring that had a different number, like 135 or something like that, these holes would not line up with these holes, and then I'd be like, oh crap. So make sure that that's true, and it's the same over here for the bigger dude. So on the bigger guy, this one is a 50 tooth. It works with, this is 450 34, and so that means the bigger one is 50 and the smaller one is 34. Damn. But where is it? This one also has 110 millimeter bolt center diameter. I'm pretty sure that's bolt center diameter. But yeah, the new ones that I ordered, I don't know if it says it on here. It totally doesn't on the small one. On the big one, you can see bam right there, 110, and then it says 5034. But for the small one, so here's the box. Here's a box for the small one. You go on the back. Boom. Bolt center diameter 110, and then the same. There's a larger one, I hope. Yeah, 110, 50 teeth, and then that was 110, 34 teeth. Okay. Okay, so now that I've got my spider cleaned up, my new chain rings, and then here's the bolts, I separated them, so here's 5 and here's the other side. I'm going to put these all together, and so this guy goes on the front side, and if you see this tab right here, he goes under the pedal arm, like so you shouldn't be able to see him. And then this guy just slides on the back side, like that. So the top one, the big chain ring, its orientation is important because of that stud that goes under the pedal, but the bottom one I don't think is so important. So now that I'm holding these in place, I'm going to grab one of these pins, and if you see, this has like little logos on it that say FSA. That one is going to go right on top there, and then the bottom one doesn't have any logos, and so that one goes on the other side. This is pretty much an exact reverse of how you take the chain rings off, except for you have to be careful about that pin that goes under the pedal arm. It's just a little tedious because the chain rings want to fall off of the spider when there's no bolts on there, duh. But other than that, you just screw them in and you tighten them. You don't need to put like the force of the gods down to tighten them, but you know, get them to the point where they're not gonna fall off while you're pedaling, because you do put a fair amount of torque on the bolts. I bet there's a torque spec for this if you want to use a torque wrench or something, but I didn't. I just tightened them pretty good, hand tight, and that's what I do every time, and it always works out. So yeah, there's the 5 and the 4 again, the millimeter Allen keys, sticking them in one on each side. You see the 4's on the right side, 5's on the left side. Give it a good tighten, and then run around and get all the guns a good tighten. Skipping tightening the other bolts because that's a big waste of time in the video, and it's pretty obvious. You can see what everything looks like put together with the new chain rings and the old bolts. So now we got to take the back wheel off so we can get to the cassette. So we got to pop this off, got to loosen the brake loosen, and then we got to loosen these things. Because I have fenders on, I got to do this. You can see it better on the other side, but I gotta pop my little fender tabs off because I live in a rainy place. And that's basically what happened. And there you go. So now I have my wheel off, and we're gonna see if we can get this cassette off. Okay, so first things first, we gotta get this skewer off. So just gonna unscrew it. Unscrew, screw. And mine has these fender tabs, which most bikes probably don't have, but there are these little screws, these cone screws in here that you do need to keep. So make sure you don't lose that. Bam. So that's the screw that I'm talking about, and I just put it back on. Make sure I don't lose anything. Cool. Later, maybe wipe my hands a little bit. But okay, so now that we have this incredibly clean cassette to work with, we're gonna pull out some of our tools. So we got that chain checker tool, or chain wrench, chain whip, and then we got this cassette wrench. Yeah. So this cassette wrench, there's a lot of different types. My particular cassette is a Shimano CS5700 cassette, and it works with this particular 12 spline wrench, and so it goes right there. Bam, bam, bam. But there's a lot of different types, so make sure you buy the right one to fit your cassette. So this goes this way. So I want to be, I think it's, I gotta stop it from going that way, so I gotta do this. That always gets me. So put the opposite motion on it, and then now, so the chain whip holds the cassette from spinning freely while you do this, because if you didn't have the chain whip, then this spins in the same direction, you'll never untighten it. So you grab the chain whip, hold this down while you do that. But now that it's not tight, it's a pretty easy job. Okay, so thank you, cassette wrench. Put that away, put this away. And so now we have a couple of components. We have the part that screws on, and it comes with a little bitty washer right there. Then we have all of our cassette, which is a bunch of different pieces that we'll look at in a second. And then, oh, did I already take it off? Yeah, and then there's this little washer that's at the bottom. But yeah, I'm gonna clean this up, and then we're gonna look at it in the new one. Okay, so here is my old cassette on the left. Old cassette right here, and here's obviously the brand new cassette. These are exactly the same cassette. It's a replacement one. I didn't add any odd new sprockets or anything. So this is a CS5700 1227, and that's exactly what the new one is. So I'm gonna open this guy up, and then we're going to compare what the new and the worn teeth look like. So we're gonna look at a couple teeth in particular. We have on the top 16 teeth, then 17 teeth, then 19 teeth. These three are the new version, and these three are the old version. So old 16, new 16, old 17, new 17, old 19, new 19. Now looking at the 16 tooth, the old one, right? Yeah, this is the old one. Oh no, that's the old one, sorry. We can see that we got a little bit of wear right here. I don't know if we can get super close on it. But yeah, okay. So yeah, you guys can see we got the little wear going on right there, and right there, and right there. So this area of the chain is, or the chain ring is getting pretty worn. This guy's got, they all got these little nips on here, and that's like as the chain rolls over and over, it's slowly pushing, slowly pushing, slowly pushing, and it ends up pushing this metal up, and that's basically all over. But if we look at the new version, we don't got any of that. It looks pretty darn smooth. All these teeth look about the same size. There's a couple of little different shapes, but they're all about the same size. If you look, like, because they're, like, you see the 16 right here and the 16 right here, so they're pretty lined up. But like this tooth is a little angledy, and its corresponding partner right here is much different. So I mean, the light, maybe this will help seeing the difference between the two. But yeah, there's an example there for this guy, the 17 tooth. Let's see if we can find any wearing going on here. So I could definitely see that. We got some, again, we got the wear right there and the wear right there. So yeah, there's just little ones going all the way around, and then this one's pretty noticeable. Got some marks right there. And then if we look at the new one, we have no such marks like that. I think this is much more pristine. See the different angles, but we don't have any of those little marks. And then lastly, I thought this 19 tooth guy was a good example of this. I hope you can see it, but there is these wear patterns, like these wear patterns all over here. And that's from, like, I think the side of the chain rubbing up against the side of the wall. I don't think that's that good for the chain ring. I don't know if that affects performance, but it's all over this one. You can see those little wave lines. Wow, wow, wow. But if we go over to the new one, those dudes are not there. This is like all clean metal. So this is an example of wear, and you guys can see it really good here. But yeah, those are some basic examples of like your chain ring wear. So let me get them all in the shot, clear it out real quick. But yeah, you guys should be looking like this dude, and this dude, and less like these. So try to not have those little peaks. That's like oh, maybe you should replace this dude. And that doesn't mean you have to replace the whole cassette like me. Sometimes if you ride like all the time on these two gears, then maybe you just replace these two. But you got to pay attention. If you're going to be replacing individual gears, you got to make sure that the other ones are good and not really that worn down, or you're replacing these regularly. I think these are like 10, 20 bucks, and the whole thing is like 40 bucks. So if you're going to replace more than like 2 or 3, just get a whole new one. I think it's cheaper. But yeah, time to install the new guy. So I'm going to put the new cassette on, and it slides onto this cassette housing. And if you look really close, maybe that way so you can see. If you spin this around, you get to this point where there's like these doubles, and then there's one that's a single. And this indexes or clocks all of the cogs, or the cogs. So you're gonna line it up per this, and I'll show you what's going on in a second. So first you put on this you put on this washer on the bottom. It'll go on, and then next you start with these guys, and you see how we have all these like similar sized guys, and then this one is like tiny. That tiny one goes on to that one non-double and slides on. It won't slide on in any other way, so that's kind of nice. And there it goes. Also, I don't think it'll slide on backwards yet. It's made so you have to put it on the right way, in the right orientation, so that's kind of cool. So man, goes on. And then basically they have these little plastic spacers. These are much like, you can put these on kind of whatever. I really don't put any thought into, as long as they fit on. And then basically you just take your next largest cog and put it on in the same way. We got that one dude going on with the non-double, another spacer. Oh, actually, my bad. First one does not have a spacer. Then you do spacer. Yeah, so the rest of the cogs, except for the last two, they look a little different, but they're all the same system where they have that one single, and you just keep sliding them on with spacers in between. And then once you run out of spacers, you have the last two cogs that are a little different, and they fit together, and then you screw the thing on top. Okay, so the last ones, they're a little different. They're not super flat, but they go on the same exact way, and they just stack on each other. So there's no need to get alarmed about them being different. And then you got this guy. So make sure your washer's on here. And he just screws on there. Take my Allen key, or my spoke cassette wrench. Here you go. Brand new cassette. To make sure that I put everything in this video, I'm just showing you guys putting the skewer back on. And basically the only thing you got to remember is that those cone springs, the little tornado looking springs, go on, and then the small part goes towards the wheel. So now we're going to start putting the bike back together, and so we're going to put the wheel back on, and with the skewer it's going to pop right in, and I'm going to put the tabs on for the fender after you put it in, and make sure the brake is engaged. And yeah, then the next part is we're gonna clean out the bottom bracket. Sometimes some gunk gets in there, especially if you live in a rainy place. Next step is to put the pedal back on the bike after you clean the bottom bracket out. I am tapping it in with my soft hammer again, not using a regular hammer. And then we gotta put the other pedal on. I've seen some people put their pedals on like not opposite to each other, and in my case you can just unscrew it, but with some pedals it's a big old hassle to get the other pedal back off, so make sure you do this right the first time. Okay, so it's a little dark because the sun went down, but we still got to put this chain right on. So we got the new chain right here, and you can see the master link, which is right there. Bam, master link. And what we got to do is take that apart with the master link pliers like we did last time. So open up your pliers a little bit, then put them in there, and bam. Take it out, and then these guys separate. I like to take my master links out for this part, and this is a new master link, by the way. I take mine out while I'm installing into the bike frame. Basically, you get a new chain that's the same size as your old chain. You might need to like cut your chain or break your chain or whatever to make it the same size, and then you just kind of route it in. So another example of my excellent camera work. I'm just showing you guys that I am making sure that the chain gets routed over correctly through all the cogs, through the pedals and the replacement cassette, and then the two little pulley wheels on the bottom. Make sure you do the pulley wheel ones right. I did it wrong once, and it was rubbing on one of the metal pieces that hold the pulleys together, so go visually inspect when you're done to make sure everything's running smoothly. I'm going to put one master link on this side, and one master link on the opposite side, and we're going to hug them together, and this is pretty self-explanatory if you saw how it went apart. And then you can either pedal to pull it together, or you can stick the pliers back in and then just open up, and that should force it together. So now the chain's all the way on there, and so now we're just gonna pedal to put this chain back on. Oh, it's kind of in a little funky spot right there. Okay, so pedal to put this chain on, and once it pops on, we should be all good. So now I got all new parts. I'm going to take it for a test ride, and I might have to adjust the shifting a little bit since I put a bunch of new components on here. But that's pretty much how you replace that. I hope that was informational. Got to see a little bit of the chain wear. Now you can see how to put a master link on, how to check your chain, how to put new chain rings on. It's pretty simple if you have the right tools. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a test ride. See you later.